Good morning, people. Well, I guess it's not a lot of you here yet, but maybe someone watches the VOD. So, oh, I have an idea. Give me 1 second. Heat skirt! Brr. I pulled down the curtains, the blinds. Okay. Yesterday we worked on some proc gen for our game, Robes. So we now have procedurally generated levels, or at least level layouts. And the next step would be to also procedurally generate the spawns that come in each, and I have some ideas on how to do that. But there is another step. I think the game looks a lot worse, or at least it looks a little worse than it did before we did this, and I feel like, why don't we do some interesting things to that. So the way we set it up is to spawn a whole bunch of like tiles like this for the roof and the walls and so on. And I think it's fine with the walls that those are spawned like this. But we don't really need to spawn individual game objects for the floor, especially if you have a larger level. That's a lot of game objects. Like you see here, this is all floor. So I was thinking that we should just create a mesh instead that has a bunch of these rectangles. And we could do a couple of things with that. We could actually get a trim around the edge, so we can add like a little bit of some kind of, a little line that runs around here that'll look a lot more polished. And the same up here, we could have something that looks a little bit more like the wall is kind of going in here. So what we want to do with that is to use like auto tiling. And we can use the same algorithm to do the border here and the border up here. That would be pretty simple. I've done it tons of times before. And then we generate these parts as a single like game object with a mesh renderer and a material and a collider. And I think that will elevate the look of the game quite a bit. hopefully. And then for the internals, like we only have to do that auto tiling for the bordering stuff, like the tiles that are around the edge of the level. And then for this internals, we can have larger squares. Like we could have like 1 tile to maybe 2 square and 3 square and 4 square different tiles. That will be the make up the floor, and that will also make it look less like a repeating texture. So I thought we'd start there today. And maybe like yeah. Let's start there. So we have this floor generator component that keeps track of all this. So currently we instantiate surround and floor like this. We pretty much don't want to stop doing that. So let's keep it in there, but let's not do it that way. So we have here floor tiles and wall tiles. We want to find a list of border floor tiles. So we go through all our tile positions, and then we check if it is a 1 or 2, which is the hey Pine, what's up? Actually, we want the wall tiles to be up here. I want to check if this is a little bit slow. We could do it in a different way. I think it's much faster. So we check if this tile is a floor tile. Good Pine. Or it's not that you're struggling, but that you still think it's fun. So we can check if any of the directions, directions 8, any. So we check all the known floor tiles, and then we check around them in all the 8 directions around them. This should be D. That is a wall tile, and that is 3. This means we don't need wall tiles up here. Fine. Call it make floor. It's fine. So border floor tiles, tiles.keys, where tiles p equals 1 or 2, and any of the directions have a tile that's 3, which is a wall. So we're next to a wall, and then we select that P and make it a list. So these are all the ones that we want to work with. Non-border floor tiles. These are the ones for the next step here. Oh, we should also do this. Put this back to us. It's sort of exactly the same as this, but reversing the... So, do we have any... We do not any. Cool, so now we have 2 sets of things. And now we want to create a bunch of I want to create a mesh. So we actually want to create like Also, do we really need this? So tiles lives in it's a field in the class. Let's just create a function for this so we can separate it a little bit. We should have done this with the other stuff too. So we want to create a new game object. Call this floor. I want to make sure floor game object dot transform dot set parent to transform. And then we want to have 2 things. We want to have mesh renderer. Let's call this MR. Floor game object dot add component mesh renderer. We actually want one more. So we want mesh filter, which is where the mesh renderer will get its thing. And we also want a collider, mesh collider. Like that. So then we're gonna need a mesh. And then at the end, the mesh filter shared mesh will be the mesh. And the mesh collider dot shared mesh. It's going to be the mesh. So we're using the same collider for the collider, or same mesh for the collider and for that. So now the only thing we have left is to go through all our tiles and figure out which tile, like whatever should be where. And the simplest way to do this would be, I guess, to use these things. Let's oops. We're gonna need this outside of the function, so let's move it out to here. There we go. Shouldn't these be one in? Yes. Cool, that should be similar or exactly the same. And then we want to create all of our stuff. So why isn't it? Usually when it's not reformat, there is some issue. Yeah, so now we can see that it doesn't really make a floor here, and we would just fall through. At least we would if we had gravity. So now our floor can be created. Yeah, but why? Yeah, I don't understand why it doesn't automatically format this for us. Usually because of an error, but yeah. So, right, so we got our mesh. And we're gonna need a bunch of other stuff. So we're gonna need a list of vertices. Those are a list of vector 3s. And then we're gonna need normals. We're gonna need also UVs. Those are a list of vector 2s. And then we're gonna need a list of triangles. So these are a list of ints. Okay, so to build this, we're gonna need a way to give beta 5 close. I think next week is the idea for the next beta. I don't think we'll be able to do enough for today to make this nicely playable, at least not in a way where it's better than it was before. So like next Friday at least. Okay, so what do we need to do? We need to have a function. You just call it quad, and since these are all gonna be we're gonna need like two things. We're gonna need a position and a size and UV chords. So it's like a position is a vector 3 in local space. I guess that's the same because, yeah. So P is the position. And then we're going to need vector 3 for size. Actually, vector 2 for size. And then we're going to need two vector 2s for the UV chords. UVA and UVB. Or, if we're even better, we could just say UVs and calculate. Yeah, that should work. So what we want to do is we want to add it to the vertices. The first one is P, which is the bottom left vertex. And they want to do P plus new vector 3 S dot X S dot Y and wait, it's probably easier to write it like this. So it's like P dot X plus S dot X. P dot Y and then P dot Z. Yeah, this is taking that and then is moving it to the right But I think the next one should actually be moving it forward instead of to the right. So that's P S dot y. That's a little bit annoying when we have the vector 2 here. Let's do vector 3 instead, so we can do it like that. So this is the bottom left, top left, and this should be the top right. This will be adding in the X as well, and the last one will be bottom right. So we're adding 4 points: bottom left, top right, and bottom right. And then we want to add the normals. Those will all be vector 3 up. So we need 4 of those, same as that there, and then we need the UVs. So we're gonna do UV scale is 16 units. 16. Yeah, the texture is gonna be 16 units wide or something. It's called SUV. UV size or whatever. Then we're gonna do UVs.add, and the first point is the bottom left. That will be the UV chord as it comes in, and then it's gonna be the top left, and that's gonna be new vector 2 UV.x and UV. Oh, this should be divided by 16. So we can do this. It's cleaner. It's less performant, but it's cleaner to put this here. So we will start with UV.x, and then we will add on to that UV.y should be S.z. This is seen from above. And then the next one will add in the S.x on that level, and the last one will remove the C. These are the same as these. Yep. And the last part is adding into the triangle. So so we want to add the number of vertices. So vertices dot count. We add 4 vertices. We do count minus 4, count minus 3, count minus 2, and count minus 1. So the last one is going to be at index count minus 1. Seems alright to me. So now we've filled in vertices, normals, UVs, and triangles. Vertices, normals, UVs, and triangles. And now we have a way to create these quads. So now we just have to create this. So we can just take our border floor tiles and add all of them. So for each vart p in border floor tiles, create a quad that's at the position P, which is gonna be not the correct. But this should work, right? So we do this, and then we set the size to vector 3.1, and then the UV is gonna be what? That's gonna be set to something like vector 2.0. So, like in theory now, when I tab back, I think we'll see a floor. Nope. We do have floor here. Doesn't look very good. Where is this? There's nothing to be seen. It might be that we don't have materials, but that's not it apparently. Yeah, create the mesh, and I set the mesh. I create the quads, and I set up the mesh filter and the mesh collider. Oh wait, no, you're absolutely right, Tattoo. I don't create the mesh. We gotta set all the things first. We want to set all the vertices. We want to set the normals. We want to set the UVs. These ones need a channel, but that's fine. UVs. And then I want to set all the triangles. I think there's a list version of this. Submesh 0. I don't think we'll run up at the things. We've got vertices, normals, UVs, and triangles. Okay, let's try again. Oh, I'm stupid. This is that will be quads. We want to add 4, 3, 2. That's one triangle. And then we want to do 4, 2, 1, I think. 4. I think. Hey, we got something. It's offset and terrible, but it kind of looks correct. Let's see if we can have another material on here that actually has some. Create a material for floor here. Material. Floor. What's this material? It's like weird. Just pick what do we call that? Walls? That was perfect. It's called walls. We put this on there. And looking at this 0, 0, this looks exactly like the bottom left corner. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna say first try. What do you think? Is it correct? It's almost correct because we also need to offset this by something, and we need to set the material. So floor generator needs a reference to the material. can set this up as we create the thing. So mr.material. We just set this to floor material, I think, and then that will work. And then we need to add 0.5 to all the because I made a terrible mistake back in the days where I choose these things. Hello mind rage. Oh, it should be minus probably. It looks like we did a little bit too much here. And then let's try the material too. Let's make this the floor material. Yeah, it creates it. We got that trim in there. That's the first step. Now there is something called a what the heck is it called? A bitwise auto tile. Yeah, this is the one. So here we have a set of, let's see if we can steal a texture from this somehow. See if there's an image that we can steal. There's no simple one, unfortunately. I have ones in other projects that we could use. Or bitmask, auto tile, whatever. Okay, let's just borrow this for a second. So what I wanted to do is to take the this and draw it in on the top row here as like can you be in there maybe? Cool. So give me a new layer, and then we're gonna say, so at 0 I have, oh, it's very faint. It doesn't matter. So we're gonna grab these and say it's 0. It's gonna be fully filled in, or like that's all the things. And I think I reduce it one. The second one has that missing disco floor tiles, yeah. So the way this works is pretty much we check the neighbors and then we give them, we add up a number, and the number will be which tile we pick, and different directions will add different things to this this number. Okay. I will explain more in detail when we get there. But first of all, we need something to look at, or something to test, and then we can later like draw these in. Oh shit! It's really hard to keep track of what's what here. So. Let's do this. What? Okay. First one doesn't have the top. The second one doesn't have the side. The third one, or fourth one I should say, doesn't have those two. Then we got some that's missing that side. It's still really hard to tell. And then we got this. This is really terrible. Oh, hey, hi Margus, I missed you. I don't even know, like... Let's actually type in these. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These are really good. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Okay, now we can check. So 0, 1, 2, 3. We fixed number 4. Yep. Number 5. Yep. Number 6 is missing both sides here. Number 7 has no borders except for the bottom. Number 8 has like missing the bottom, I would say. Yeah, number 9 missing these. Number 10, it's the corner. Number 11 has only the right. Number 12 is top left. Number 13 has only that, so number 14. And number 15 is clear. So now we should be able to pick this one up. It should be the 15. If we offset the UVs by 15. So if we picked vector 3 dot up times or times, wait, it's the yeah, it should be the 15th, and then we divide this whole value by 16. I think you can divide, but I'm not sure. So we got something completely different. It's not at all the tile that I thought. We're getting like that tile there. Okay. So not first try on this one. New vector through to 0, and then do we divide the UV size? Maybe we should have done this. Maybe I did pixels. Yes, look at that. So can we check if it's the right orientation? It looks like it's the right orientation. Yes. Those are the same. It's got that to the bottom left. Yep. Cool. So now we just check. And we offset the X value of the UV by the number that comes out of our algorithm here. Let's just hide some of these windows so I can more easily get to my shit here. That's better. Cool. So how do we figure out what this number should be? Let's call this T. Each P, we can check the neighbors. You say T is 0, and then you check. No, they're not. They're just gonna be making a border around it. So we can check in our tiles. And we know that we don't have to do null checking here. We can, because we already know that we have walls and floor. So we can just do if tiles P plus and then vector2 int right, for example. Let's look at the thing. We want to check if the neighbor to the top. We should start with top 1. So that will be up. Then we do T plus 1. Because that is going to say it's open that way. So we want to check if this is actually a wall, which is number 3. Then we add to T plus 1. And then we want to see the next value, like, could have looked at this guy over here. Maybe it's easier. It's hard to tell what's going on here. So this means that there is an opening here. So that's why I picked that. 4 is open to the right, so let's use that. Right. We want to add 4 to the count. 8 is going to be down. Thank you. It's not an index of an array, it's an actual dictionary. But yes, you can do that. And then up, right, down. The one that's left, we got to figure out which one is the left one. So the one that's open to the left, only to the left, is number 2. It's 2. So this will count up the number depending on which side these indexes, or which sides are open. I think of it as open, but or closed. Like if a neighbor to above is a wall, then we want to draw a line there. Now this is going to be inverted to what we drew, but hopefully, if I did the math correct, we should see something like this, which is admittedly a little bit hard to follow. But you can see there is it is inverted to what I would have expected. But we can reverse these by checking if it's not a 3. Look, okay. Now you can see this line following around the entire outside of this shape here, which makes it easy for us to draw in these so that they look better. Okay. So this is a simple way of getting that trim in there. Now our problem is that it's gonna be a little bit difficult to draw these because it's so hard to tell what's going on here, but we'll figure it out. So that's only part of it. Now we want to figure out how to put in the rest of the floor, like the central part of the floor. Now we got the trim around the edge. So how do we do this for the central parts? Since we know which those are, we can actually do a thing that will expand a square. This is how I think about it. Let's say we pick a random one here. This is the point, or this tile is the one we're evaluating. So we put a point down here. And then we say we have sizes of like 1 tile, 2 tiles. Can this be inverted? Yes, so. Blasting white in my face at this early hour. So we want to actually maybe be able to, I'm not drawing these exact, but have different sizes of these squares. I think 1 and 2 are pretty good, but we could also go 3. We can also do like this or this or whatever shape we want. So we put in a little bit of randomness, and the floor will make it look less repetitive and maybe work better. So one way of achieving this is to just have, let's say this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 8th one, index number 7. If I do this, this should say 128 exactly. Yep. So this one, this first row is going to be a row of 1s. We're going to just mark them with a dot in the center, I guess. And then we're going to make a row of 2s. Something like this. What's the size of this? Is this exactly? It's 33 by 32. Okay, so it's 1 too many. So this is 32 by 32. Yep. So these are the bigger squares. But so we get a little bit of variation on these. You can draw them later. I just want the like just draw in some numbers here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Except we should start at 0. So don't get confused by the math later on. There we go. So those are the big ones. And we'll have some kind of value that determines if we should try to expand a tile, and it should be pretty likely that we want a bigger tile than a smaller tile, but not always. Okay, so now we want to go for the non-border floor tiles. But we need to keep track of, like, say we pick one and then we expand it out. Then we want to make sure that we're not like drawing a small on top of a big one. So we need an actual bit mask or a list. Yeah, let's just do a list. Why not? We're not, this doesn't have to be that fast. So we can just say used tiles, is a new list of vector2 int. I used to like do 2D arrays of everything, but that always adds a layer of some difficulty to it. And caching those and doing things. Sometimes you can just have lists of vectors where you don't have like thousands and thousands. It's still fast on modern hardware, even on like Nintendo Switch or whatever. And then you can always optimize later when you got the logic correct. So now we want to go through all the non-border floor tiles and check if they have a neighbor that's not a I guess won't you get into trouble with the seams of your textures, like broken puddles? Yeah, I would, but we're not gonna have the same texture. We're gonna redraw these, and then we're gonna add different things on top. So I already have ideas for adding like little pieces of swaying grass and making the arena a little bit more what should we call it? Like a little bit more lively with different things. And we'll do splats on top of this, which are like puddles and stuff. But that's probably a later thing. I just want to get this up to some level of polish. Like currently it doesn't look good enough with this. Also, why don't we see the this? Oh, it's because this is actually a lit material. Huh. It's like an arcade. Yeah, it does. I agree. We gotta do that. I kind of like the glowy neon aesthetic. That's maybe a later level where we're like closer to whatever the end is. Oh yeah, I love how when you run through a pile of leaves in Death's Door, it kicks up some of the leaves, and also when you're like dashing, you lose some feathers. It's just a freaking great game. So we have a list of non-border floor tiles. We want to check that the first thing we do is we check if random. Oh, we need a random. Just pass along the seed to make floor, and then we'll have our own random bar. Random new x random seed. Random float is less than 1, so this is chance of or should be large. Well, it's the chance of a big one is the value we want, and we want to make it we do a big one, else we do a small one. Let's start with the small ones and have the value really low. So the tile we want for a small one is a random pick from this lane, which is index number 7, I would say, and a random between 0 and 15. So this is like the X is gonna be random between 0 and 15, and the Y is gonna be 7. So in theory now it should fill in the entire floor here, and it does. and it's a random one, and we could just make sure that this floor actually is showing up. We'll use a better material later, but this one should not be called walls. You can already sort of see how this is looking a little bit more alive than things did before, so that's good. Yeah. That's a famous one, Pine-Stark, like the thing they do, which I think is really cool. Right, so let's see if we can get some big ones in there now. So let's make it a 50% chance that we will try to get a big one. So we first check the chance, and then we check all of the diagonals and stuff. So, and make sure those are a 1 or a 2. So tiles. Same with this, it can't really pick one that doesn't exist because of the way it's set up. So we can do P plus vector2int up. Oh, we need a double and here. Up needs to be either 1 or a 2. It's annoying that you got to do 1 or 2. I don't have a good reason to keep that. So let's just see. So where we do the boxes, so many things. Fill random boxes. I fill them in with the number 2. I'm just gonna change this to 1. So Spires! Whoa! What's going on your stream, dude? 98? That's gigantic raid, man. How's things going? Welcome, raiders. How nice of you to come by. You're doing well for yourself. How's the stream? How's everything coming? You got raided by J-Blow and Adam C. Jonas. Ah, lovely, lovely. Yeah, I got raided by J-Blow one time too. I didn't realize who it was. He came in with like 250 people. I was like, what the heck? And then my game broke, and it was a good time. Game's going well. I've been cheating a little bit and been doing some proc gen. So we'll see if we can make this work. So this would be a number between this and 8, and it would be on the 8th column, and then such would be 2, and this would be correct, I think, or if it should be... No, it's probably correct. So, no. Oh, I forgot one thing. I need to also check that I haven't already used this tile. So we need to check also that all of these tiles... Okay. This value here, and use tiles contains this value, but it should be not contained in that list. This is not the most performant way of doing this, but I don't care. So then we want to also add these values to the list. It's mostly adding P, I guess. No, it should be all of them. So used tiles, add Ass. There we go. Still need this. It's still broken. Why? It looks like it doesn't care. Oh, it's because this needs to be checked here too. It looks like there is an offset somewhere. Why? What's going on? This is weird. If I think these are offset by 1, so, but it's still weird, isn't it? So why maybe this one should be 7 and this one should be 6? Maybe I did a boo-boo. No, not that one. This one should be 7 and this one should be 6. Or it's still weird. I think I do something wrong here. How do you make this script work without annoying recompilation pop-up and launching the game? Seeing result in the editor. Yeah, it's a really simple thing. I have this little bit of code here called onValidate, which happens whenever you change something in the inspector for an object or when a code is reloaded. So this makes you able to call a function that regenerates something. So it's generally it's made for like keeping values in a specific range or make sure that some component is linked properly or things like that. Do some checking. So we do something wrong here in some cases. Yep, it's just monobehavior. The correct way of doing it is to create a specific like an editor or like your own inspector for the class. I don't remember what the name is now. And maybe add a button that you press, because this has some limitations that you'll run into later, but it's sort of working at least. So let's tell me now why this is how it is. So the use tiles add p plus 1 blah, 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 and then we check if use tiles not use tiles contains p, which is what I would have expected. Up, right, and 1 seems like those should be correct. And I check here. We'll create the new one. not create the small ones and see if we can figure out what's going on. So these are the big ones, and the big ones seem to be overlapping the edge, and here we want to like sort of add the edge tiles already, so we're not getting that like border floor tiles. We can do that, I think. So let's see if this overlap here disappears. Yes. Okay, so no overlaps now. So it seems like it's creating the small ones on top of the big ones. Also, it's obvious now that this 7 here should have been a 9. If I could press the right button. These should now all be like this. Oh, but that looks weird. Oh, yeah, of course. Okay. So I pick a number between 0 and 7. Then I need to multiply it by 2 because I want a step 2 to go there. That's why those were weird. Okay, good. So now we get a bunch of those. So now let's only generate the... Well, I guess we can just generate the small tiles and see if we solve the problem somehow. But I would guess that we will have some overlap. Yeah, the small tiles seem to still want to generate here. But the small tiles doesn't add themselves to the list of used tiles. So if you're doing this, please don't do it in this way here. Cool. So now we're closer. So we want to have this at 8. So that's the color, the row where we pick those from. So now we should have dots in all of these. Cool. So for all the new viewers, we're making a game called Robes, which is a game about shooting and so on. So you can kind of buy things in the shop, and then I just added these procedural levels. Gonna do more like procedural selection of enemies and stuff, but it's a fast-paced like roguelite. Like it's very inspired by a game called Snake RX, if you played that. So I'm trying to not only do the action part, but also do the shop part nicely, which I don't think I do. I think I want the extended claw, but yes, I actually can buy the claw if I sacrifice. So sacrifice takes a little bit of your HP. Okay. I haven't tuned anything yet. Since I started changing things. It was originally a game that I made in 1 week. Get out. And it didn't have this claw spell. It's also a little bit broken right now because it's drawing things outside of the... Oh, the floor is not on the right layer, so the coins are falling straight through. Okay, I died. So, yeah, this game, we also have this, and maybe I actually want the Pierce spell too. Or a Pierce thing, so we can shoot our enemies, we can dash around. So I intend to spend like 3 months making this game. Taking it up to a Steam release or something like that. Just try not to get too caught up in small details. Yeah, I just gotta go find my nose spray because I can't breathe. Give me a sec. Nope, didn't release the river game. More than not anything more than the jam version. So if you want to try robes, wait, that's wrong. You can go to this URL and you can try an older version. Eclipse! Welcome. At gunpoint? That's not good. Be nice. I wish, Dino, so... yeah, so we set this up and now our walls... I guess what we could do if we wanted to do a quick thing, we would just draw in the centers of all these and maybe make the I don't know. Just sell that those are bigger tiles a little bit. I'll redraw these at a later stage. Let's see how this looks. That's pretty okay. But we need to fix the coin issue. I'm not entirely sure I want coins in the game even, but let's figure it out. We want to put this floor thing on the right layer. So floor game object dot layer equals layer mask name to layer. And we have an actual either it's called floor or ground. Let's try floor first. So the one is called floor, yeah. Now, in theory, coins should, yeah, they stay on the floor. Gotta go pick them up. I think maybe I don't need the coins. They do lead you around the arena a little bit, but I'm thinking to simplify the economy quite a bit, where maybe you have less. Smaller numbers rather than these like 76 whatever that is. Maybe it should be like 3 after a level instead, and these would cost 1 and 2 and so on, and then maybe there's a way to get additional if you play fast or something. Thank you, Kale. Yeah, it's coming along pretty nicely, I think. Is that the right pixel? I think so. We could just bring these down. No, we need to merge this. Oh no. Okay, never mind. We need to do this. Maybe not. I wanted to actually just reduce the let's just get rid of a few, and then this is what I wanted. Make these darker. Not too much, just a little bit. So we got some of that. That's a nice floor. And then we need to draw the whole like thing around there, and then we need to also do the exact same thing on the top here. Yeah, I think I want to get rid of the coins. So we want to have a line around here that's like the top of those. The easiest way, we could get, this is creating the floor. We do have this. Why don't we just use the same set to create this? It's fine. But we need to figure out what the surround and floor, yeah. So floor tiles, wait, here. So border floor, non-border floor tiles. We want to create one that is, I think it's number 4. ID 4 or 5. Let's see. So it's the ones that are bordering a wall tile that are on some level. Let's see. So the cyan ones, which are on 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 5, index 5, that are next to an index 3. This would be like top border tiles or border top tile. And we don't need to do this whole thing anymore because it's only one that is possible. That should work. Border top tiles. This should be now 5, and then any of the directions contains a 3, which is a wall, which is correct. And then we select those. So border top tiles are going to be very similar to this. Border top tiles, but we need to check if they are not a 3. Okay, I guess that works. And then we create that thing, but we should add it at a higher, so I think that is at a 3 unit high. And then we need to re-enable our debugging like this one. Broken. These, for some reason, can actually be didn't create any, from what I can tell. Okay, so like that. should be this. There we go. So now we got a border up here. Now we just gotta offset that into some similar thing to this. So we got the, probably this be a good place. Like, where are you? That thing. Let's put it down here. Pliny. Cool, and then we'll just invert this for the funds. Then we can pick another border top tiles, and then we say, we want it on the 15th row. Instead, it should be on the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7th row. This should also make it pretty easy to create a material that that can be used, like easily skinnable. Also pine, like, sure. Getting them is part of the challenge, but I think we can do other things. Like, what if we added a way of getting some of the charges back? So right now, when you're slashing, for example, you have 3 charges. You like slash, 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 and then you had to wait, slash, slash, slash. But if you pick up a charge orb, it would recharge all your abilities. So that would be a thing that pushes you around the level. Plus, adding more interesting enemies that pushes you around the level will give you the same thing. And maybe sometimes there is a coin that drops. That's an additional thing. Maybe there is an upgrade that makes that drop more often, or a mechanic that, like, if you kill X number of enemies within a second, then that will force a drop of one of them. Something like that. So it's not like every enemy drops a coin. Something different. So we had this floor material. And the problem with the floor material is that it requires oh, look at this. And we got flickering here because of the way I've set up the tile map, or the tile map. So this is conflicting with this up here. Maybe we should move this here. And then change this. So we moved it from 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 instead. Yeah. So even if I'm using really, really inefficient methods to do this, and really crappy code, you can see I can generate, like, it doesn't take many milliseconds to generate one level like this. So even if I say, like, don't do what I'm doing here, like not keeping an actual tile map, I don't know. You wouldn't get currency from every enemy. That's what I'm trying to say. You're not gonna get currency from every enemy. Okay, so now we can see like it's approaching some kind of polished look. Then we'll do a little fade so it looks better. Why is this offset by like... Oh, I know why. Yeah, I know why. You just do this, grab this guy, and make it like... Can we steal this from this thing? If I do this, and then remove that, and then just fill in the right things here with... Just pick black for now. And then we remove the things we don't want. How does this look? It looks like the black line should actually be a brighter thing. Just grab that. And then we need to get rid of everything behind. Yeah, we'll figure out the exact things later. And then we have a set of things outside of this border that we can get from somewhere else, I guess. Check this out. We got a problem here because of this material we're using on the ground now. It's not drawing to the depth buffer because it's an unlit material thing. So what we can do is we could go back to the standard material and tweak. Is this the right one? No, it should be floor, right? Yeah, this one. This should be standard material, and then this looks weird because of some reason. I think it's because we have like this. No reflections or highlights. Get a little bit of like bleed, which makes some flickers on the... You see small tiny lines. I think you can see it in the stream anyway, as well. Just the way it happens when these are too close. We can move this up one and just ignore the problem for a bit, and then maybe come up with another way of doing this. So one of the ways to do it would be to add a border around each one. Need to add another one here, 12. There we go. So no more flickering. That looks pretty good. There is still a little bit of flickering around the edge here, which I think is as simple as grabbing this, pulling it down. Potentially we need to do that on the other side too. Now that flickering is gone. We're also losing this. It's not like syncing up with anything anymore, which it used to be. So we could somehow, what we wanted to do really is to pull this line across, but I'm not sure we can do that right now. I think the top should be darker, yes. And also I don't think it should have the black in there. If I were to like pick maybe just this color and then something like this. Yeah, we'll figure that one out. Make it darker, and also this layer highlights, which has pulled it down in intensity quite a bit. That looks more natural. It does seem to be some issue here. I'm not sure. And then we got the trim around the edge, which is this top level here. So if we re-enable this, pull it down quite a bit. There's only a few of them that are actually going to be used. Let's see if we can draw in a good looking border around it. So if we did this, something like this. Unfortunately, it's going to be really hard to draw this when you don't have any borders around or any margins between your stuff. And the way we have it set up, it doesn't really need all of these tiles, because some of them can't be next to each other due to the way we scale the tile map. But we still have these. Maybe later we'll figure out a use for it. So if we did this, I can see 12 is either calculated wrong or I drew it wrong. We also see 15 here. That's a weird thing around the edge. Which we would have to figure out a way to handle. Yeah. 12 is wrong, so should then just this. There we go. So now 12 is like. See if we can make it. It's pretty fast to go around. So grab another layer and see if we can like draw a little line around where. So this would be the line towards. What even does this do? This one should be just trying to figure out like That not, yeah, it's just down here. Actually, that one would be like this. I'm trying to figure out a way to draw a line around there. Maybe in that in this color. Say this one, for example, if I say 3 units in, I want that. We get that line there. This is not exactly what we want. Maybe we want it 3 units from that side. Okay. That's 2. There should be one more here. This should encircle everything like this. Yep. And then we have the corners. Which, if we were to do it strictly, it would do, is that 1, 2, 3, yeah. One corner. Here's another corner. Now we should have another corner down here. There. So now it should, except for the outer ones. Yeah, it works. And then for the corners, for example, let's just add a little bit of flair. So we do this. And then we need to figure out what to do about the number 15 here. One simple way of doing would be just to have a little square in the center. Doesn't look that good, but it's okay, I guess. It should be up 1 unit. So the problem is, like, I could add little things like this, but they don't really match up with any of the lines. Okay. Drippy stuff makes sense. maybe start naming layers. Or at least this one is now we're getting a little bit too many lines here. It's just small things like this will help. Now I want to actually why is nothing showing up? Want to try some stuff. Oh, that looks pretty nice. These really strong, like, edge things makes it look very repetitive. And some of this looks really not that great. But I think it's time we start merging some of the layers together. It's getting a little bit hard to navigate that file. I'm getting annoyed by the coins more than anything. That looks pretty good, maybe. Cool. I think, like, as a basis, this works. Potentially, we want to make sure this doesn't happen too much. Maybe just grab something like this, put it there. Yeah, that looks cleaner. And then all of the big ones should have a clear border around them, I think. Let's just create a something just like this, and maybe this. Something above here that there we go. Maybe actually, what would happen if we did this? That's quite visually distracting. Maybe one of them could be like that. Like this guy. It's that's pretty good. The bright color is the culprit mostly. And if I were really cool, we would add little, like, more handcrafted things to that, but that's definitely a later thing. So one simple fix here would be to grab the background color for the camera from the screen. Instead of picking that dark purple, we'll pick this color. No, absolutely not. Maybe we drag it so it starts looking more or less exactly the same. Okay, it's not quite. It's like slightly very close. So we're not seeing that edge there. That's pretty good. It's not perfect, but it's close. Still think this dark outline should be picked from there instead. So up a little bit darker. A little bit too dark, maybe. I feel like not quite capturing the colors here. These are so subtle. The little color changes here. At some point I'm just gonna actually draw these in. But for now, let's just roughly get the things right so it doesn't look too bad. Two distinct ones, like this one, for example, makes it look really repetitive, so let's get rid of some of this. That's all right. So how do we clean this file up? It's so many layers. And I'm just gonna add more. Just for the so here, just get the it's so faint. I think this is just to give an edge towards so what do we have? We have 4 full lines, and then we have these corners. I want an edge towards the others, but I want that edge to be like not. I don't know, we could try black, but that's probably not what I want. Okay, I've been fiddling with this for a little bit too long now, I feel like. We're still missing that corner. Where is that corner? We'll find it. Number 5. This corner. That one looks super offset now. One thing we could also do is add it so that the every other tile in here would be picked from 2 different lines or 2 different rows, so you could get a little bit more that way. But yeah, it's look there. Get a little bit through. Looks good when you angle the camera more like that, but it's probably easier to read. Yeah, this is probably better. $5, you will buy it. Yeah, maybe $5, maybe $3.99, $2.99, somewhere in that range, I would say. I like how the lighting. There is no actual lighting. It's all fake, but I like how it feels like there is some lighting. Send the invoice. So next on the to-do list, I think this is good enough. Yeah, next on the to-do list is to not get into one of those kitchen sink commits. Yep, I'm copying the rotation from the camera in code, Lark. There we go. A good way of doing it would be to figure out the camera rotation in a shader and have the shader fix all that for us. Det gör ni rätt i. Det vill jag ha. Nej. Vad ska ni göra? Inte Pokémon eller?
Jo!
Ah! Jag hoppas jag får. Lycka till. Det kan vara öppet. Next on the to-do list would be to procedurally generate the spawn patterns. The elevator would be cool, but I don't think it's super necessary at this point. We can just fade in and fade out. But maybe the spawning patterns of the enemies would be a thing. It would be really cool if this had a... Maybe we could like add a mask for this. And then we pulsate that over time over some... I don't know. some overlapping noise maps or something. So it looks really ethereal. So procedurally generating the spawn patterns. Currently they're made through a text file, which is a good way of doing it actually. So here I just define all the levels as different letters. So this is all the normal enemies, this is chunkies and so on. Oh yeah, Hyperlight Drifter is one of my favorite games. So one way I think about this is I might want to handcraft it like this later on, but as a stepping stone, it's nice to have like little things you can pull and tune the game until you find, okay, this is roughly where I want the game to be, and then I can export that as a text file, and then I can hand modify the text file to work. Could also do like partially handcrafted and partially procedural, but for now I just want to have some simple procedural system to pick which how each wave should look. So inside of the arena, I'm actually spawning this thing, and I'm adding to like current level waves and so on. Spawn my enemy and I add some stuff. I kind of feel like this should go away for now because I don't want elites to be just done that way. And I think there's a lot too many enemies. And they're kind of overlapping. It's just not a great thing, I guess. So how does the spawn points work? Oh, I have a bunch of... I see. I have a bunch of empty game objects inside. And currently I'm not drawing it, but I can... So each spawn point, to not have enemies spawning on top of each other, have this kind of thing where I pack things and then I pick the closest to the center. Okay, that's fine. So here you can see where the spawn points could be, I guess. Okay. No skill tree like Path of Exile. I don't think so. Even though I'm kind of intrigued by that system, I don't think that's what's gonna happen. Yes, so get rid of that. Close to the right. It's not the shop I want. I want the arena, and then arena will at some point, like say start level, and then it will read from this waves thing that we created, and it will spawn everything. So what we could do is procedurally generate the waves object and not change anything else, and that should work. Probably would be really weird, hard to code. I don't think it would be simple. Like coding it might be simple, actually, or not now. It wouldn't be simple, but it would be achievable. Let's not bother with reading that file anymore. Let's say we want to generate 10 levels. Should not use I, we should level. And then we add a level. Well, let's call it L then. Five waves. Now we create a wave. Spawn infos. Don't have a nice. This is just a list of which enemies should be part of that wave. So we could get those from some way. So the way we did it before is we just find from enemy spawn infos. So really this is not done in onEnable. This should be done when so oh, this is something like this. We need to call this function from somewhere, and I think run manager, when we start it up, we're gonna create a seed somewhere. And we'll do like arena dot generate, and we'll pass random dot int. Yes? Hey kitty. How you doing? So we pick a random seed, we generate the arena, and then the levels in the arena will be there, and then we don't really need the onEnable anymore. Let's generate the levels. So we clear out the levels, get a random seed, do a super stupid version of this, and then go. Let's have this. I think this is when we're playing. This is between each. We need to find. I have another version of this destroy thing, but we're doing this here. Who cares? Okay, so in theory now we should be getting like spawns here. No, we did not. Finish the level. Forgot to add the wave, something like that. Forgot to add wave to the level. Enemies! And they can be anything. Just terrible and horrible. Look how nice it is to have some safe space to move to. I say. Okay, that was not nice of you. Hello, bullet hell. Okay, we need to I actually don't know if the shop room is a specific seed yet. Can check, but who cares? Yeah, okay. So here is the this is where the algorithm has to start like knowing things like which enemies are hard. Can I combine a lot of these small ones with something, or things like that. So one way of thinking of it is to create like spawn groups and give them a cost, and then have a set of like every level could have a budget. So so I more or less increase the difficulty over which level there is, and I can just tune like, oh, it's got 1,000 points, whatever, to spend to spawn enemies. And then we can set up different groups like 5 skulls, 2 skulls and a shooter, just a shooter, and so on. So I do this in Hells of the Demons, and that's working pretty well there. So that's one alternative. And I can just make these groups, I'm thinking, what's it called? Like scriptable objects, and then link all the scriptable objects, and then like have a minimum level that they can have, minimum and maximum level each of these things can be. And that's a little bit of work to set those up. Another way of doing it would be to have a text file format where we just put in some numbers. So each line in the text file would start with the number, which is the budget or the cost, and then I would have a string of characters where each character represents a more or less the levels file, but instead each line has a budget, or I can calculate the budget from just what the value of each of the enemies are, maybe. Anyway, I gotta take a short break. 1 second. So let's see. The simplest way would probably to say create a bunch of spawn groups. Could read them from a file. So how would that file look? Something like this. So we would have like minimum level 0. Maximum level 3. I would like to not have to set this up by hand. Can I do it with just giving each enemy some kind of... And then a budget, it's 100. What? I'm pressing the wrong button. Okay. And then I would have a splitter, like colon, it's nice and visible. And then we would say, okay, that would be 3 enemies. How will I determine this number? Shouldn't it always just be the sum of the cost of the enemies? Or it's close to the sum of the enemies. So what is actually happening is gonna have 2 numbers, start level and end level, and then a string of so it could be like the other one where we do this, where we can have multiple spawn things. Each enemy amount would be a number on each enemy. So one enemy would be worth X difficulty points. I also want to think about, like, so new game plus, what would that do? So maybe that's like adding budget to each number or something. These kind of games gain more by having droppable items. What do you mean? And how is that related to this? Or should we set it up so that we have a structure that's the level info for each level? No, we should at this point, we should just procedurally generate everything, shouldn't we? So let's use the cost of each enemy and then put together different groups with that budgeting system. So at this point, we should just like have a budget for a level, and that's going to be 100 plus L times 50 or something. And one enemy will cost something like 10. And then we will have another way of calculating how many wave count should be, like L for level times, or it should be like 3 waves plus L divided by 5 or 3 or something. It's another extra. It's 2 extra waves per every 3 levels. So now we can debug log. We can show these values. So level, and then we put in L, And then we have the two values, budget / wave count. So whenever I start the game now, we should be getting these outputted. So level 0 is budget 100, 3 waves, and then on level 3 or level what would be level 4, displayed as level 4, yeah, would be 5 spawns, 7 spawns, 9 spawns, or 9 whatever. So this looks reasonable, but the budget should be defined by the wave count, I think. So the number of waves should multiply this value. Which means each wave should be like 30 plus level times 30. No, this is C#. So that gives us 3 spawns with 10 in each, it looks like. This is a huge... So the other part I want to do is I want to determine the last wave first. So I will try to buy as expensive stuff or spawns as possible in each wave. And then maybe the different waves should have different budgets instead. So the last wave in a level should be harder than the first. Something? So maybe the budget is not multiplied by wave count. We could do something like this instead. So we say level 1, and then we add in a bunch of things we know that's going on. And then for each wave, we will say wave 1, and then we put the budget in here. And then we calculate the budget according to some formula. Yeah, we'll figure some way out where maybe we select a subset of all the enemies, so we don't get all the enemies in each. So it feels a little bit more handcrafted. So the budget will be level times 30 times wave plus 1 divided by 3. I'm just guessing some things here. Let's see how this looks. So level 0 will have 5 waves. It's not good. Why is level 0 having 5 waves? Because we're not using wave count. That's why. And then we can also add up the level budget. And debug log this at the end. It's more or less that, isn't it, Heen? Like, I mean, I could divide it, but I could also, like, so level 0 will have wave 0, all those would be the same, and then level 1, 40, 50, 60, 50, 70, 90. There's a big gap coming here when... would be nice to graph these values, wouldn't it? $60, $750, $900, $18.90. Jesus. I think we should only add one wave per step here. That times 2 becomes... So there's such a big gap when that happens. Let's try again. Restart. What's that sound? 0, budget 90, 150, 210, 420. That's a big jump. 520. It's not a bad thing that there are jumps. $620, and then it jumps to 1050 because this value increases too fast. It should be like divided by 10 or something. Or divided by 5 and this number is smaller. See how that affects things. Yes, Dirtsack. Plenty. Okay, let's see. 90, 102, 114, 180, 200. I think this is too small now. Doesn't feel like there's a huge gap here. 360, 390. Yeah. Let's increase this slightly, maybe to 20. $90, 114, 138, 240. That's a big jump, but it's a decent. Yeah, 280, 320, 510. Yep, I like it. That's pretty good. Yeah, I could make a thing that draws this onto the screen pretty simply. And it would be nice to also be able to generate this, draw it, and have all the parameters I'm tweaking as little sliders. So maybe an editor window that has a bunch of sliders, and then an area that draws this out as a graph, like with grouped bars, like level, and inside of each level we got waves with their costs. So maybe we do that later. So now we have budgets. Now we gotta figure out how to pick enemies. So enemy spawn info actually has a cost associated with it. What are the ranges? We start with like 90. So 9 enemies in the first. It would be pretty good. So 10 would be the cheapest one. So enemy has this enemy spawn info. So first one would cost 10. The flyer could cost something very much smaller, like 3. The shooter enemy should be more expensive. It should be like 30, I think. The chunky... Wait, no, the shooter enemy should be much more expensive, like 100. I think enemy spawn info should also contain the level range. So let's set that up. The chunky, which is the eyeball, that should... Spawn info. That should be like 4 of the skulls or something. Let's go set up the enemy spawn info here. Min level is 0, max level is gonna be like 99. Or a lot. And then we go into like enemies. We're gonna not spawn the shooter enemy until like level 5 or something. The normal enemy, it can always happen. The chunky enemy comes in first at level 3, something 2. The flyer is always possible, or it stops being possible at some level. Or it could be interesting if it can spawn like a shit ton of those. So maybe that's just the simple way of setting it up. So now we just pick a random item here for each of the spawns. So now instead of doing that, we should we should fill out. How do we split the budget for each wave? Budget here is wave budget. So each wave we should split it up into X number of spawn points. Spawn groups count is like random range between 1 and 5, and then this is where we split it up. So we say like spawn group count SG budget equals budget divided by spawn group count, something like that. And then we subtract from that, and then at the end we subtract that from the budget. Now we do that first, and then we try to, while we still have money, so while SG budget is larger than 0, we will try to add enemies somehow. So now we need to figure out which enemies we should pick. So var enemy spawn info equals a random item that we can afford. So we say null as this element, and then we have a filter which should be like ESI, and ESI dot cost needs to be smaller or equal to SG budget, and ESI dot min level needs to be, or rather level L needs to be less than level needs to be larger or equal to min level, and level needs to be smaller or equal to ESI.max level. So now we pick a random item that we have enough. If enemy spawn info equals null, which means we didn't get anything. We couldn't afford, or there was some other constraint that stopped us. We just break here. Otherwise we add it, and then we also reduce SG budget minus equals enemy spawn info dot cost. And if we couldn't afford it, this budget would be still reduced by that. Like we're not really checking if this budget is happening, but yeah. So in theory, we should have a dynamic spawning system here. Let's start with the claw. It's a bunch of enemies in one position. Now we have more positions. That's 3 positions split up, and then if we have many, then the budget is split, so that should work. Yeah, sure. We want movement speed for sure. Okay, so let's see. Oh, the whole like corpse thing doesn't work since we're changing the shape of the arena. I didn't think of that. So we need to reconsider this somehow. It seems very easy so far. I think I need to see this. This visualizing part is probably good. Kind of show what this actually looks like. enemies stuck on corners is something we should also like come up with some idea around. Feels very easy now. Since it feels easy, we should be able to tweak this. Okay, so what are the different things that we can tweak here? I kind of want to return this level info. So that we can call this from somewhere. Get a list back. Yeah, something like that. And then when we generate here, we want to have a set number of like tweakable parameters. And then I want to draw out each spawn with icons of the enemies. So we can see approximately how this scales. So we could do like on validate, or actually let's do a special inspector for this. Okay, I don't remember, but we will do like arena. We got. Come on. Fin cat. Why am I blanking on these names now? It's called editor, of course, not inspector. I don't remember the names of these. Why? Heck is, why is it so hard to remember? Unity custom editor, here we go. On inspector GUI. So then we can do something like if editor GUI layout button I guess we just use. Let's just use for now. Let's just use on validate and then levels equals generate seed. And then we add a seed here. So now whenever I change a value here, like changing the seed. Oh, that's a floor generator. That's not it. This. We will get an output here, but I want the output to be down here. So the simplest way would be to create a begin horizontal. So Unity editor, no, GUI layout begin vertical or something. And then we'll do like for each var level in gonna need the target, so var arena equals arena target. And then if arena.levels equals null, we just return. So we don't have to think about that option. So now we can start drawing what a level should be. So GUI layout dot in this case we just have a label that says why am I there level, and then we'll have the level number. Oh, there's a name to them. Let's make sure we create that in the so arena, we create the wave, we create the level here. No, no. We can figure out a way to generate names for them later, but that should, in theory now, give us a list of labels that gives us the arenas here. Yeah, levels, and they're not different, so that's fine. It would be nice if this had some divider here. GUI layout. Is there a divider or? Space? Can we do that? That didn't work. Oh well. Can just do this. It'll be good enough, and then we'll figure the other stuff out later. Then I'm thinking each wave should be a horizontal strip. And then I want a box, and the texture is what's gonna be hard. These should also be like horizontal. Want to see how this works. So we get all these and I think we can give this GUI layout options. We can give it like GUI layout.width 32 or 16 or 24 or something. So they're all the same width. Makes it easier to see. And we will do something similar to each wave with like a box or something. Can I give these? Yeah, I can put width in here too. It would be 25 or 26 times the number of spawn infos. Spawn count. Just to push them together. But we also want like a label here that's giving us, for now, let's just put in like, I don't know. Like a little spacer there. So here I want to show the name of the spawn. So wave spawn infos index of spawn, I guess. And then again, a similar thing inside of here. Wasn't good because these labels need to be limited to a width. I think maybe there is a way to have them not be as wide as possible, but I'm not sure how. Oh, wait. I don't need it in there, of course. Why is that 0 there always? Question is, like, is this worse than that, for example? Anyway, so now we have this possibility to preview what things should look like. Could look like. We could have looked at it like this, but that's too strange. So this is a good start. So now let's see if we can get the icon here for each of these. Let's create a texture inside of spawn info. Maybe it should be a sprite. I think you can draw a sprite in UI, but I'm not sure. So we just go through all our enemies and make sure they have a thing, and then we can get them in here. Show up like that. Hopefully. Spawn info. We pick one that's like enemy. No, they're called like sprite. We want this to be bigger. So that's that one. Chunky should be this one. Flyer. This one. There we go. So now all those exist. Whoa, what's going on here? That was weird, but fine. We want the arena editor, and then instead of putting down the name's first letter, can we just do esi.sprite here? No, it can't convert this. Unity, custom editor, show sprite. So we want to take this and modify it slightly. We don't really want the rect position. We want to do a GUI layout.draw texture or image or something. Box maybe with some params that we get from here. So like sprite.texture and then okay, we might have to figure this one out for ourselves then. Button only returns a bool if it's pressed. How do they do it in this? They use like a property drawer, which is not exactly what I want. They create a rect position, which is something that comes into the on GUI. Is there a way to like GUI layout and to get like the position or something? Or do we have to do this ourselves, which is not that hard, to be honest? If we just knew where the stuff were, is this like giving us some? No. And these, do they return anything? GUI layout option. No, that's not gonna work. Damn it. Base doesn't return any. But we can't do this because it doesn't give us a way to crop the texture. Get lost wrecked. Oh dear, that this should be so hard. It's probably easier to just create a bunch of singular images for each of the and reference those instead of sprites. I don't care. Let's just do it. Let's create like 32 by 32 sprites for each of the ones. We'll save little PNGs of these, it doesn't matter. Or, yeah, let's do that. I hate Windows. Fuck is this? Why doesn't it look like all the other selectors? Chunky, that would be eyeball. Enemy would be skull. Flyer would be flapper. I'm not sure why I didn't name them the same. Shooter enemy. Tumor. I only have 4 enemy types. Damn. Like all of these debug logs should go away now. Cool, and now we can go back to our arena editor, and instead of doing this bullshit, we'll just do GUI layout dot box, and then we draw what? The texture image, esi.icon. And then we pass along GUI layout size, width, 32. It works. This one gets shown really rarely. Yeah, the rooms are randomly shaped. So it seems like it randomly picks things, but it doesn't pick the most expensive thing. It should be like picking a... I have this random weighted thing where we have to sort our list of enemy spawn infos. We can do that. Var enemy spawn infos equals enemy spawn infos dot order by cost, and then like 2 lists. And then we can do something similar to this. Item weighted, and then we put in enemy spawn infos, and then we put in the weight. But we also need to make sure where is called here apparently, which is this thing. And then the weight is like... Let's see how that affects things. This is where this display will be a lot better. Also wonder if I put in a larger number than the texture size, will it actually... Sum up all the weights, and then we pick a random number in that range. Okay. So if we do something like this, will it change the look of this somehow? So what this item weighted does, it kind of takes all the weights. The higher the weight is, the more space in like so it takes all the weights, puts them, so if something has one weight, it's probably like early, so it puts it way in the beginning. It's like between 0 and that weight 1, and then we have something that is 10 that's more likely to be picked, and then just goes through and picks a random number in there, and that will give us this. So maybe if we took cost times 10, that would scale, but if we do ESI dot cost, so it's like an exponential, it should show the more expensive ones more often. Sort of. I think maybe the problem now is the budgets. But the budgets aren't good enough. Maybe New Game Plus style, where you can loop the game or something. Sure, let's keep it at 50. This should probably be in relation to the current level somehow. We'll see about that. It's an important one too. Okay, so now we have a couple of things to toy with here. This is how quickly we add levels. I think that was nice. So if we increase the wave budget, this is so nice to be able to see this in this kind of simple way. It'd be even better if I had a vertical monitor or some other way of zooming this. But like, if the base budget is higher, I'll get more difficult enemies. We can see how it kind of changes it, so now we get more of those. And then we get like, yeah, this looks more like something I would do. Now in the end, I want to have like defined combinations probably. So the waves are a little bit more, but yeah. But before we have that, let's see if this works and how well it works. Shit. Hey, give up. Can't you add wave scalers or monsters' weight increases on higher waves? They already do by the more expensive something is, the more likely it is to be picked. But it needs to be in budget and it needs to be in the wave range, right? In House of the Demons, did you do all this by hand? In House of the Demons, I actually defined different combinations of enemies that can be spawned together. So I had like a mirror spawn where it was said like these enemies could appear on each side, and then added up the costs for each enemy and did things like that. Yeah. Nice. It might have changed slightly because I've redone some stuff, but I want to get in there and do a lot of more stuff with this. Like I want to probably rip out every single every single stat and just simplify that greatly, and maybe have since the levels are a little bit larger now, maybe it makes sense to have limited range on your stuff, so you can't like shoot this from over here, so you have to kind of run around to be able to hit enemies, and then you could upgrade that range, of course. Increase haste to level 2, that's even faster shots, and then level 3 haste, we can't afford that. Okay, let's go. Yeah, definitely with these that with this level, like it made sense a lot with the blizzard, because it's like enemies will come from either side. Ooh. I'm very overpowered. These levels also like feels like a grenade kind of thing would be nice, so you can kind of lob a grenade in one of the corners and it damages everything in there. Maybe a grenade that becomes one of those Nova things. Level 2 Pierce is not bad. And then this will not give me... Yeah, no. It will not. Let's do it anyway for the interest. It feels a little bit less polished, but it feels more fun this way. We just need to figure out a better algorithm for choosing what to spawn and so on. It's very bullet helly in a pretty nice way. I want to upgrade to my... Nope. 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 Shit, this is eating up all my money. Yeah, this is also increasing too fast. You have plenty of reason to move around now too, without the coins dropping, I feel like. And it will be even more when I add other things. But I might be wrong about that. We'll see. The game feels a little bit easy. Let's see what people are saying here. Does less damage per distance. Could do that. Need an explanation. It projected disappear. Smaller with distance. Yes, maybe. Projectile move too much. Matter of test. Needs to haste and heal. Yeah. I think that it should be just the